Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to the first pass in the Battle of Azeroth Alpha for the Marksmanship Hunter, the Marksman Hunter, the MM Hunter, the goodbye to the vulnerability window Hunter, and welcome back Steady Shot Hunter, the hello Lone Wolf baseline. I don't know. It's like a 4-hour VOD. Went up for testing this, and I'm out here next to some actual PvE mobs because some of the effects are not working on training dummies. We will then, of course, go over there to show off some more things and discuss some whatnots because I don't want to die in the recording and also maybe crash. I have turned down some settings in this recent build because there are some video problems going on with it. Hopefully I don't crash in the actual recording. That was apparently what happened the other day with the Protection Paladin bubble that crashed me out of the game there. But because I do these sort of in a one-take, just goop, madness, drop it all out, brain confetti, after I test, cause it's all fresh in my mind, right? We just got all this testing done. This video will kind of be a little all over the place since we are going to be starting sort of at the tail end of what has been changed here, because just saying something has changed is not the same as actually showing off what has changed with Marksman, because quite a bit has. I left my hotbar up right now in the beginning here because you're going to see certain spells that A, what is that? B, I know what that is, but I don't know what it does now. Or C, mostly Arcane Shot is gone and the other changes that are here, like Marked Shot being gone, for example. So let me bring over my notes real quick and run off a few things here that are the major point to talk about. The biggest thing for hunters in general that I'll go over that will sort of cascade into all three hunters in the entire video is that I don't think this is that big of a deal for marksman, but definitely will be for beast mastery and especially for survival, is that hunter pets now are locked. Their spec is locked based on family. So we have a scorpion here, or a scorpid rather, and the scorpid is going to be locked in the tenacity family, and there is going to be one activatable and one passive they give you. So you have endurance training with the tenacity pet, so you get a little bit extra increased health, and you get a sort of micro shield wall. Cunning pets give you a movement speed bonus and gives you the Master's Call ability. Ferocity gives you 10% leech passively, and it gives you Primal Rage, which is the hunter heroism. Now, for marksman, you have Lone Wolf as a built-in passive. No longer is it a mandatory take it all the time talent. It is just there. When you have no pet active, you gain 18% more damage. When you bring a pet out, you lose the 18% damage. Obviously, you don't lose 18% overall because your pet will do some damage, but it's not going to be the 18% multiplicative across the entire board for the Marksmanship Hunter. That is a big baseline change. But there was a talk about utility and defensives, which means that marksman could essentially have a heroism pet out, cast pet heroism, Primal Rage, and then unsummon, dismissing the pet, which is like a 2.5 second cast time or 3 second cast time, right? And then you can go about your business. The utility is there for marksman in that regard, but obviously that's quite clunky, right? Start with a pet out, then dismiss it to gain Lone Wolf back, and then go about your way. Now, it could be a thing. The one thing that I had the Scorpion out to show off here is that because of the utility kit that marksman has, that all hunters have, with being squishy or only having turtle, and you've lost, of course, all the artifact perks that had anything to do with any additional disengage or the heal on turtle, all that stuff's gone, right? For all three hunters, anything tied to utility and defensives is obviously gone, unless it's rolled into something baseline, and marksman has like 2 things. But this pet thing, why I bring this up first off is because all pets do almost the exact same damage scaling. Their abilities do the same things. So no matter what kind of pet you have out, their damage is the same. Or via balance, when it happens, their pet damage will be the same. So you don't need to worry about what the base pet is for the damage side. You'll have to worry about what the pet is for the utility side. So you could actually use Survival of the Fittest on your Marksman Hunter here, which Survival of the Fittest is a 20% DR, damage reduction, for 6 seconds for both you and your pet. So if you pop this, which doesn't actually have any animation right now, you can then just unsummon your pet, right? But you can obviously, summoning a pet on demand is an instant, right? So summoning, say, your cat to cast heroism is instant, right? I mean, it's going to dismiss your cat, which is like a loss in 3 seconds of actually using your heroism. But that is a possibility for how marksman can have extra utility, but it'll be much easier to use that on BM and survival because your pet's always out, right? You utilize your pet all the time. But that is a thing for marksman hunters, but obviously most of the time you're going to be using no pet because you're going to want lone wolf. And that is a huge point of how all the pet stuff has been reworked. As you will also see, the entire vulnerability window through marked shot and all of that is 100% removed from marksman. Gone, 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 gone. The marksman's focus, additional 30 focus baseline is also gone. You'll see they only have 100 focus baseline. That is gone. The proccing hunter's mark, all that stuff is gone. Your arcane shot is gone, and it's now quick shot. We'll go over all the abilities here in a moment. The one thing about quick shot to note is that the marksman hunter has no magic damage baseline except for one talent and one passive. You have no dots, you have no magic damage, you have nothing unless you take explosive shot and maybe the possible bleed that also would be, it wouldn't be magic damage, but bleeds ignore armor. So steady shot is back. There is a new spell and rotation ability baseline called Rapid Fire, which your mastery, as I go back over this to make sure you know this, your mastery is still the same. It's still of the ranged increase, and then 4 times whatever the range increase is the damage of all focus spending abilities. That is still the same. But you have, this is a, where'd it go? So Rapid Fire is a builder, which has quite a bit of synergies with different talents. Steady Shot is also your builder. Quick Shot is a spender. And a big change is Aimed Shot, as you see there down on the hotbar, has 2 charges now. Aimed Shot, of course, is your main spender. So that is sort of the core of what the class is now. And you'll see when I start hitting mobs in a moment how that sort of rotates out. But this is the core of how the spec plays, which I'll just bop up here real quick and I'll shoot some trolls. The coupling point of all of that together is with no vulnerability window to play around with, the spec definitely plays differently. I think, just because I don't like how the vulnerability window is basically just trivialized by the offset of just a weak aura. You just get a weak aura and you're fine. I mean, you just could have played this weak aura minigame. But that's really not what the hunter should be about, I would say. You're still gonna get smacked in the face a bunch, because that's still gonna obviously be a thing here. But the marksman hunter's overall rotation is back to being pretty slow and methodical. It's GCD locked because of Steady Shot being back. The rotation of Steady Shot being back is still a GCD locked ability. That's a bug right now with Rapid Fire, where you keep Rapid Fire when you kill something, even though it's dead. But the way that the spec will play out is that you will be balancing around your aimed shot charges. You'll be building with your steady shots. As you can see there, you can steady shot while moving. Quick shot is also an instant, so you can do that while moving. Rapid fire, you can also channel while moving. But aim shot, you have to be sitting still. You can't move during aim shot. It has a longer cast time compared to the version you're used to on Legion right now. It still has the 50% additional damage to targets you have not hit yet or not damaged yet. That is still a thing. I love that sound effect that Quick Shot makes. It's really good. but that is still part of the core. And then you build with steady shot in the rotation, and on cooldown for the most part, you will always hit rapid fire, because rapid fire deals just a little bit more damage than an aimed shot, but it generates focus on a cooldown. So the pairing there is that they have to make sure that rapid fire always stays more relevant, that you have to want to hit it on cooldown. So that's why it does a little bit more damage than an aimed shot. Additionally, it has a lot of talent interactions and interaction with your new Trick Shots passive. Trick Shot currently on live is a 100 talent that aimed shot will now ricochet and hit all vulnerable targets for 30% of normal damage. And if there are no other vulnerable targets, the damage of your next aim shot is increased by 15%. That is gone, as you saw on the talent page just a moment ago. That is gone. And it is now a passive called Trick Shots, where when you multi-shot 3 or more targets, your next aim shot will ricochet and hit up to 5 additional targets. That's 6 in total, target plus 5 for normal damage. There's no damage fall off as it currently stands. Or each shot of your next rapid fire will ricochet to an additional nearby enemy. That is a random ricochet effect, or just main target plus 1. But if there's main target plus A, B, C, D, and E other targets around, it'll randomly pop around, and we'll show you off in a minute, because it works on PvE mobs, doesn't work on target dummies back at the temple. So that is the huge core of how the choice comes into play with how specs works, and if you're focusing on cleave or single target or AoE, because Trick Shot is now baseline in that regard too. You also have another passive called Precise Shots, which an aimed shot will cause your next 1 to 2 quick shots to deal 100% increased damage. Quick Shot, again, is a filler spender when you do not have any aimed shots available, but every single time you use an aimed shot, you will get 1 or 2 charges of Precise Shots for that. It's basically a guaranteed crit baseline, but obviously when it does crit, it will do double damage on top of the 100% additional damage. So that is sort of the core of how the Hunter will play, the Marksman Hunter will play. Hunting Party is still passive. You get the cooldown reduction on Exhilaration when you kill things. That is still there. Everything else is talent-oriented. You still have your 2 traps. Tranquilizing Shot is back. That does the 1 enrage and 1 magic effect. And whenever steady shot, all these things are the same. You've been seeing all your pet utility, of course, is still here, even if you don't need to use a pet. But again, the utility conversation we went over earlier. Multi-shot is a spender. It is not a builder. It is a spender now. I don't want to show off multi-shot until I'm ready to AoE some stuff down. That pack is spawned, so we'll do that in a moment. Let's pull out my Scorpid to help tank some things so I can show off what the AoE looks like. Feign Death, Flare, Misdirection, all the same. Exhilaration is the same. The tooltip does not say it's a full heal for your pet when you use it, which could be just a tooltip error bug or whatever with the pet stuff changing, but it is a full heal for your pet, 30% heal for yourself. Eagle Eye is the same. Disengage is still a leap backwards. Counter Shot is the same. Concussive Shot. Uh-oh, I think I got a graphic glitch there. Don't do that to me. I don't want to crash. Bursting Shots are the same. Mostly awful, but it's still there for your disengage. Turtle is still here doing the exact same thing, but you don't have the heal attached to it anymore. Cheetah, same. And then Aim Shot, we went over the 2 charges, recharge time, etc. So now how Trick Shot works, and I have a certain talent build laid out here that we'll show off, just to show off some abilities here. And this is why I have to like jump ahead to show you all these like built-in synergies that are new. The one thing I will not really show off is Explosive Shot is the exact same as it is on live. Volley has been changed to be your auto shots, just have a chance to cause a volley of arrows within 8 yards of the target doing physical damage. This is a passive now. There's no toggle or focus cost, but it does not work. It just doesn't do anything. And then Careful Aim also doesn't work. These are both have a chance abilities, which anyone out there in the community that loves the have a chance abilities, I don't know what, but these are annoying. They should tell you what the chance is so we can actually figure it out. But, you know, Guidewriters will figure all stuff out for us anyway, whatever. Careful Aim is a reworked ability from your 15 tier now that reads Aim Shot, Arcane, Marked, and Multi have a 20% increased critical strike chance against targets above 80% health, and those critical strikes deal an additional 30% damage over 8 seconds. That's all gone. Careful Aim now is just Aim Shot, has a chance to deal 200% bonus damage to targets who are above 80 or below 20% health. So it is a reverse execute and an execute caked into one and only on aimed shot. Again, very, very aim shot focused. There's a lot of talents that are very, very aim shot focused. Aimed shot. Careful aim. So that is what this tier is. I don't really show this off. Murder of Crows is moved up here. Same exact functionality. Serrated shots is that quick shot critical strikes have a 50% additional damage bleed to the target. That's the bleed I was talking about that would ignore armor if it's a real bleed. And then we have Master Marksman right here, which is your aimed shot critical strikes on your primary target. I'm being attacked. Make your next quick shot or multi-shot free. No focus cost, which this talent will end with this because it's part of this AoE I want to show you off here, and how quick shot and how trick shots and how multi-shot and how aim shot all work together in this mode. We have a new talent down here called Streamline and Double Tap. Streamline makes rapid fire last 2 additional seconds. This is a bit of a mathy one. Let me make sure I'm not going to get attacked here real quick. So there is a bunch of weirdness going on with rapid fire that I'm reporting. Rapid fire generates focus per shot fired. Now, it fires a shot baseline every 0.3 seconds. If you have enough haste, that'll of course be squished down to be 0.2, 0.1, etc. But it goes from 3 seconds as the base amount to 5 seconds with Streamline. And there's weird math here. So when you cast the spell, it fires 1 arrow. But then it shoots 9 over the channel. So it's 10 arrows base. But that 1 extra arrow doesn't count. With adding 2 more seconds to the base spell, you get 1 shot and then 14 arrows across the channel. And with another talent we'll show here is that you get 31 arrows with Streamline and Double Tap, and they all grant you focus. So that's because you get 15, which is then doubled by Double Tap. This is a cooldown that your next aim shot will fire a second time without consuming focus, or your next rapid fire will shoot 100% additional shots during the channel. This only generates focus before you ask for each arrow shot, not for the cleave effect that is tied to trick shots. But Double Tap is currently bugged, so what I'm going to show you is not intentional, but I want to show you what it actually looks like when you do this. Let me pop a bit of little bit of that, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we're going to do trick shot rapid fire. It was still casting because the main target died there, but that was a double tapped, streamlined trick shot via multi-shot rapid fire. So the main target kept getting hit with 1 arrow, and it shoots 31 arrows, and then each of those arrows ricochet to 1 additional target. So you have that synergy with how your new little AoE baseline toolkit works out. Or you have something like this. As I waste all my focus, I'm not a hunter. So here's the aim shot bounce, which of course I pulled dagger off my pet because, you know, why not? Taunt him. Yeah, I don't want to kill these guys first. I'm going to heal my pet real quick, and we'll mend pet too. Why not? But now, if you do that, let's go over here to this one. Oh my goodness, the threat generation on your pet feels really weak. I have to do, hang on, we'll do this again. Get over there. There we go. Get some focus back. This is a trick shot, aim shot, which will then replicate itself. There we go. So that, besides being incredibly fun, is sort of a core to how, I mean, it's not sort of a core, it is the core of how the Marksman Hunter. This is really fun. Rapid fire is really fun. It has some animation glitches right now, but it is quite good. But that's the double tap component. Right now, double tap, when you use it on rapid fire, it will not eat the charge of double tap up, so you can still use your aim shot right after it, but that's not intentional. It's supposed to be one or the other. But that is, if you use trick shots, remember what I said, if you have a big pack of mobs, I don't know where the math will come into play on this, because there's options there, right, for the Marksman Hunter, where you can either you can multi-shot aimed, multi-shot double tap aimed if there's 5 or 6 mobs, because you'll hit up to the main target an additional 5. An aim shot's gonna hit way harder in that bursty scenario than a rapid fire will. But rapid fire is going to hit 62 times, even on just 2 targets, right? With double tap and streamline, because you shoot 31 arrows and each of those arrows ricochet once to the additional nearby target, right? Now, again, you only get focus for the original 31 arrows, but this combination is, and just how rapid fire will work into the rotation now is very, very different than the juggling of the ridiculous vulnerability window with your weak aura and blah, 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 whatever that madness was. But with multi-shot being changed, aimed shot being changed, the way you generate focus being changed, and how you spend it, that is the new big deal with Marksmanship Hunter. And I have piercing shot down here because I want to talk about it. And we're in like the AoE, I can be out here and I can attack mobs thing, because it hits everything between the target and, so it still hits like up to the target and everything between on the travel path, but it's 70 focus for an instant cast aim shot basically, and it deals slightly less damage than an aim shot right now. And that's probably just because it's tuning. It needs to do more damage than an aim shot, I would argue. But that's just, it could, maybe it's not factoring in mastery properly or something. But this is the weird talent right down here that I'm not sure where it's going to fit. Because it's obviously another AoE option, because your other 2 options, you have lock and load moved from a 30 tier to a 100. It was also nerfed to a 5% chance to trigger instead of a 8%. That AoE rotation one more time just because it's fun. Let's get over there. You're on defensive. Get in there. We're going to do this, do that, do this, and this. And then, oh gosh. It pulls so much threat though. Oh, I didn't hit, gosh. You have to rotate your multi-shot between every ability to get your trick shot proc to happen, which I'm just not used to. But, and then there's, wah, full healer for your pet. But the piercing shot synergy, I'm not sure you need it. Maybe, but it's just, it doesn't seem like it's good enough yet. But you have lock and load as a 5% chance on auto attacks to give you a aimed shot, 1 aimed shot for free and be instant. Or, wait, I'm going the wrong way. Or calling the shots. I didn't bring up True Shot yet because I wanted to bring up Calling the Shots, one of your new 100 talents. Calling the Shots is a cooldown talent that is tied to aim shot. So every aim shot you cast reduces the cooldown of True Shot by 6 seconds. True Shot was also changed. It's a 3-minute cooldown baseline, that has not changed, where it immediately you gain 2 charges of aimed shot and 30% haste for 15 seconds. The biggest part of that is it's the 2 aimed shot charges it grants you means you have to open the fight with aimed shot and then True Shot with low focus, but because of the huge haste bonus, you will gain focus passively, and of course you can cast your steady shots faster, and your rapid fire will also channel faster, so you can get right back to doing your aimed shots. But it's really a huge generator cooldown instead of being as a flat damage amp, which I know a lot of hunters, we were talking about this today in the stream, were like, damage amp, like it's just kind of boring, versus this haste synergy with the 2 charges of aimed shot. I'm just not sure exactly how that will play out in where your opener lies or how you open on a fight. Because normally you want to, you have to aim shot an aim shot on the pull. Basically, let's get our pet out of here. I'm triggering some marksman hunters in chat that are like, get the pet out of there. You don't need it. I know. But the focus generation, depending on your build, we still have the streamline talent right now, which generates even more focus for us, is quite interesting, but I still think the Marksman Hunter being at 100 focus, you'll be more used to than I will. I'm a Hunter player. Let me talent this real quick. Is just not very... The 5% chance on an auto attack, it procced from like once in a minute. Or it could proc over and over and over again. That's what lock and load does. Or piercing shot is this is guaranteed huge focus dump for not a really big damage gain. Or calling the shots. We had some napkin math worked out in chat real quick here, where I put down so that baseline true shot with the talent will average out to about a 2-minute cooldown on true shot if you're casting your aim shot on cooldown. Because you have to start the fight with, the two you cast on the pull don't matter for the cooldown because you're casting them before you pull. You do this into a true shot, and then probably right into a rapid fire. Right back into an aim shot. But you probably want a quick shot in there too because your quick shots are buffed. Because if you don't use your quick shot buffs, which maybe you don't use them all the time anyway because getting to other abilities is more important. I'm not sure. Because quick shot's obviously a filler, so maybe having 2 buffs and wasting them is fine because their damage is not really that important in the grand scheme of things. But the core rotation sort of plays out like this, where you're managing this focus window and, of course, handling the big damage windows that are just built in baseline to how the sort of marked shot used to be with the whole vulnerability thing, but now it's just aim shot into quick shots because aim shots give you the precise shots benefit. But calling the shots, you'll be getting roughly a 2-minute cooldown on true shot instead of a 3-minute cooldown. And that baseline right now seems way better than lock and load and piercing shot does. So again, alpha, we'll see how that plays out in the future. Because lock and load is fun when it happens. It's definitely fun to throw instant aim shots because any spell that has a really long cast time and has a restriction that you can all of a sudden just fire off and whoo, there it goes, is a lot of fun. But this, the tuning has to be there, or it has to be like an RPPM system or whatever, because 5% chance can either happen 20 times during a fight or 2 times during a fight. We also have in the same 90 row, we're sort of going backwards here because we already kind of went over and you can, these are all rotationally different, but not a huge difference in your overall play style. Obviously, careful aim and master marksman are going to be really nice because you have the huge extra aim shot bonuses, and you'll get the quick shots that are then free and doing more damage from precise shots. But you have Barrage. And I wanted to leave this for like its own little section here. Because Barrage has been strange for a very long time. And it seems to be... there are some back-end reworking on Barrage because it reads roughly the same as it does on live. Where you rapidly fire a spray of shots over 3 seconds, 2.6 with haste right now, dealing an average of that amount of physical damage, which also the tooltip math is not working properly based on just like calculator math. It just doesn't work. To all enemies within front of you. Now, all enemies in front of you as a marksman hunter is kind of ridiculous because you have a lot of range. A lot of range. So if I go way over here, like super far away from those training dummies, but I'm behind all of these, that's what Barrage does. It shoots 16. Here's the combat log for that. It shoots 16 shots per target. Now, it doesn't do a lot of damage per target, but 16 shots per target over the course of, 5, 8, 10, 15. This is currently 9 targets right here. Is a whole lot of spread cleave AoE madness. Barrage will not be very good on single target because it only does 16 shots for that average amount of damage, which is basically like a 3-second long channeled aim shot without any of the big benefits of aim shot. And double tap, as I showed you back with the trolls, has a huge potential for bursty AoE damage. And even has some bursty single target damage because you can just throw off that extra aim shot, the extra one for free. Or the huge focus generation that could work with piercing shot, right? You could piercing shot into a double tap every other time, and because you fire off 31 bolts during like a double tap streamlined rapid fire, that does give you, well, I mean, 62 focus, which is almost a full focus bar with natural regeneration. So Barrage always feels like it's gonna pull the entire dungeon, or it'll be really good, or it'll be garbage. And I'm not sure what that's gonna play out, because your other talent in this tier is awful. Lethal shots needs to be hopefully worked on, because these are some of the proc-based gameplay moments that you get to pick from for survival, for Marksman Hunter. Because right now you have the vulnerability window, you play around with like marked shot procking and hitting marked shot, also they're blah. You have options that you can sort of get that gameplay back with cooldown oriented stuff, right? So the piercing shot cooldown, or lock and load procs, or double tap interaction, stuff like that. Explosive shots, may the gods have mercy on your soul. Right? It still is the exact same thing. It's still just the which you may love or hate if you're a marksman hunter, but it's there. Is lethal shots a 10% chance on your steady shots? Let me take steady focus here real quick. 10% chance on your steady shots to cause the next aimed shot or rapid fire to be a guaranteed critical strike. The only weirdness about this is that the tooltip is the exact same animation for either effect. So do I have a rapid fire guaranteed crit, or do I have an aim shot crit? Oh, it's aim shot. Oh, okay, cool. Granted, you can have a weak orb that tells you this, but that's really lame. It should just work on the next aimed or rapid fire, and it reads like it's supposed to do that, but currently the actual spell when it rolls gives you one or the other. Because ideally, you would use it for aimed shot if you had it up, or you'd use it for rapid fire if it was up, right? You depend on which buff was active. Now, currently, you can it banks for a while, like the duration of the proc for lethal shots lasts for a while, and you'll have it up like it's 15 seconds. So now the rapid fire procs, and you can get both of them, which I'm actually glad this actually procced in the video, because it only procced like once during testing today. You can get both, which I think is fine. But how it's only a 10% chance per steady shot. You're not going to cast that many steady shots overall. But it needs to light up the effect, which one it's buffing, I think, which I put as a feedback point. Because otherwise, you won't know unless you have an add-on that tells you. It'll happen when you just hit your next button. But I feel like the decision-making part is just RNG for the hunter, and that's kind of weird. We'll see if that gets changed. But that is lethal shots. I paired that with steady focus real quick here, because this is a blast from the past, where you have the cast speed reduction on steady shot by a quarter second up to 4 times to make your steady shots cast faster. Which this is an old spell effect, which is kind of, it's huntery, but it's also like the old like blessing of whatever, or when you put a judgment on yourself as an old paladin. But that's there. The only problem with this one is that using another shot removes the effect, but right now if you use any other ability, it removes the effect, which is just an alpha bug, surely. But that is your steady focus versus streamline, because going back to rapid fire without streamline, obviously it casts faster and it generates less focus. But steady focus also gives you more focus generation if you're using more steady shots in the rotation. And that's why there's pairings of abilities here, right? Like you obviously saw Streamline's benefit with double tap. And the steady focus benefit with lethal shots is also really good. But then I don't know where Hunter's Mark falls into this. So Hunter's Mark is back. This tier is all about focus generation, right? Focus generation and 2-target cleave. Focus generation to enable the rest of your spec, because you won't be casting steady shots that are that long of a cast time anymore. And Hunter's Mark. When you apply the Hunter's Mark, it has its own 0.5 second cooldown. So it's off the cooldown for overall. It's off the global cooldown. You mark one target, it takes 5% additional damage from the hunter, and if the target dies under the effect of the hunter's mark, you will gain 20 focus. So it has a bit of that Shadow Flame Warlock feel to it. But the thing about the other two is that, yeah, so steady focus will give you faster steady shots to get you back into the rotation faster, the things that matter more, that do more damage, which is a damage increase. Obviously, Streamline gives you a huge extra damage increase over the fact that we already went over the numbers right now, that Rapid Fire does more damage than an aimed shot. It lasting 2 more seconds, giving you more focus is good too. But Hunter's Mark, the 5% flat damage amp may just be a interesting balancing point that I don't know where the math will fall into place with that. Right now, it's obviously, we don't know. Getting the target to die within the marked window, being the mark, it lasts forever. Giving you 20 focus could be good because baseline focus generation, as you see, is really slow for the Marksman Hunter. The first thing that came to mind when I was looking at this was that this is a PvP talent in the PvE tree. But because the PvP tree is being reworked on, they've rolled certain baseline abilities that are going to be useful in different forms of the game, world questing, PvP, etc., all together. Because the PvP stuff is very specialized, and you only get 4 PvP talents, I think, from the data mine stuff that we've seen. There's a new like pop-out UI here on the talent panel that like pops out right here. But Hunter's Mark feels like you mark a target, you get more burst damage to that target in a PvE situation. You kill the healer, you get 20 focus immediately. You move your marked Hunter's Mark to something else, right? You had that focus bump there that you wouldn't have normally. Not having to worry about chain casting steady shots, or if you don't have rapid fire on cooldown. And they can also line of sight rapid fire. If they line of sight it, it'll break. Right, line of sight your steady shot, it'll break, versus the Hunter's Mark version where you can put this on someone, and if anyone kills the target, you get 20 focus. So you don't have to land the killing blow, right? It's just when the target marked dies, you gain 20 focus. And because of the really, really incredibly short moving around that you can do with this ability, it could be the PvP one, or it could be kind of shenanigan-y with a mouse over macro and using it on AoE packs to get lots of focus generation to just have a lot of uptime on, because again, multi-shot costs. There's no generation back on multi-shot to have more multi-shot damage into trick shot windows. And that could be the PvE synergy, but that's also really micromanagey for what gain? I'm not sure. Much better hunters than I will figure all this stuff out, I'm sure. Other bits and pieces here. I'm doing like the lip smack a lot because I'm just waiting for you guys to answer. I'm sorry. I must have been talking for 4 hours before recording this video. Woo! We have some utility changes, which may or may not be good or bad depending on what you think about them. Camouflage has been moved. It's the same. We have Trailblazer, which has been just moved over here, and it's the same. When you don't attack, you get the 30% out of that 30% sprint. In or out of combat doesn't matter. You have Swift Wind. So casting an aimed shot, more aimed shot casts, will reduce the cooldown of Cheetah by 10 seconds per cast. This will reduce Cheetah's overall cooldown to about 90 seconds, we worked out during testing today. So it'll be about a 90-second cooldown overall. Because of utilizing, say, with calling the shots as well, so you'll have more uptime on True Shot to give you more aim shots, to give you more reduced cooldown on Cheetah, which is a huge mobility bonus. That's all it is, right? It's just obviously mobility. But that's pretty awesome, because you lost all the artifact perks. This is kind of one that they're giving you back in a way for mobility increase, because they nerfed post-haste. Barely, a little bit. But post-haste now is on a conflicting tier of personal mobility and movement impairing effects removal, with a 50% speed boost instead of a 60 for 4 seconds instead of a 5-second window. That is what I'm looking at here right now, right? Yeah. Yep, post-haste live is 60%. Now it's 50. It's a 5-second duration on live, and it's now 4. It's on the same tier as Natural Mending, which is a 20% additional heal over time for over 10 seconds when you use Exhilaration. And again, there's the passive with the Hunting Party that if you get the killing blow on a target, Exhilaration is cooled down. So there's obviously a PvP/world questing synergy here, but the additional heal on Natural Mending could be really good for just raiding. If you don't need the mobility, which a lot of hunters are just used to using post haste all the time, which I understand, it's a set and forget talent. The extra heal, there's no hot that shows on you, but the extra healing for a hunter is quite good. And again, backpacking on the initial talk about we had with how you could bring your defensive pet up and shield wall yourself and then dismiss your pet, I guess, which is a thing. I don't know. That could be really good. And that's also on the Binding Shot tier. Binding Shot, however, is not a stun anymore. And I hear the groans in chat if you didn't know. You could leave me a comment down below how you feel about Binding Shot not being a stun anymore. Binding Shot is just a root. So if you bind and they move within 5 yards of the Binding Shot, they'll be rooted in place for 5 seconds. They have reduced a lot of stuns across the board in Battle for Azeroth. Khaosshinobi for Demon Hunters, for example, now is a disorient and a snare, I think, not a stun. Shockwave for Protection Warrior, I believe, is a micro stun now. It's 2 seconds. They even nerfed the Shadow Fury for Warlocks. That has been nerfed. It's now a 3-second stun down from 5 seconds, and a similar effect has been happening to a lot of stuns across the board and how CC, how flamboyant, and how overpowered a lot of CC chaining got to be. So they've done a lot of tuning back on how CC is. Now, Binding Shot, I'm sure, will have its uses. Having an AoE root on a hunter could still be beneficial in certain situations. You can still use it sort of as a soft stun. The mob will still, of course, cast or be able to do whatever if you're within melee range or whatever like that, right? There's an arcane mage over there throwing arcane missiles. But Binding Shot is obviously exterior mobility denial. Post haste is your disengage, frees you from movement impairing effects, and gives you the micro sprint. The Natural Mending is just a stronger exhilaration. And then Camo, Swift Mend, and Trailblazer. Those are all... Your 2 utility tiers have such mixed stuff. Like, you don't have a heal, and something else that's heal-oriented, right? You have mobility, cooldown reduction, stealth and a heal, anti-mobility, mobility and cleansing yourself, and then healing. So we'll have to see if these get shaken around a little bit, because post haste needed to be on a tier that had competition, and even with the nerf, it's still going to be really strong. But on live, it's post haste, Far Strider, and Trailblazer. And Trailblazer sees very little use, and Far Strider is meh. So you always took post haste. So they needed to move it somewhere that it had competition to be fought for over a situational ability. But it might just be set and forget. They'll nerf it to like a 20% haste for 2 seconds or something. I don't know. But again, whatever, volley doesn't work right now, but it's been reworked a little bit. Careful aim is your above and below execute. You have your serrated shot, which is your dot. Murder of Crows. There is a weird... The Murder of Crows Hunter's mark for PvP could be really strong, because you're murdering of crowsing someone in a 5% additional damage window. When eventually they die, if they do die, you gain the focus and it resets Murder of Crows. So there is a possibility there that could be kind of fun. The focus cost on like the careful aim chance or the volley chance abilities look really annoying to me. Again, piercing shot may or may not be good. I didn't really show what it looks like, but it's the same effect you see on live. It looks like quick shot, but it just shoots through all the targets here. Whoa. That's it. Which obviously, quick shot hitting, piercing shot hitting a lot of targets will do more damage in total than an aimed shot. But the piercing shot base damage to the single target seems kind of weak. Also, apparently I was told that they fixed the torso turn on Blood Elf males. If you stand sort of crooked from your target you're hitting, which I'm showing off right now, I suppose. Let me know in the comments down below what you hunters out there think of the reworked Marksman Hunter, or if you have any questions or clarifications you would like to see where this is going. If you missed the vulnerability window, if you enjoyed the vulnerability window, if you're glad it's gone. I know a lot of hunters are glad it's gone. The overall rework of the talents and where they've been pushed around is nice. I like the above and below execute, but it's very, very not consistent because it could always proc or never proc. The new lock and load is super low chance. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the new Marksman Hunter as it's currently shaping up in the first pass here for Battle for Azeroth 3 in the alpha. I like it. I think any spec that is a little slower, to me, I enjoy, because I play Enhancement Shaman, and it's, right now anyway, for the longest time, it's been a 1 second GCD global locked spec. And any spec that has a little bit more leeway to think, like during a rapid fire cast or during an aim shot cast or prepping your focus generation during steady shots, like those small little windows of I like. Otherwise, I'm just used to spamming all the buttons, right? Storm Strike for days. But thank you all very much for watching. If you want to watch the entire VOD, go check that out on the YouTube channel when that gets uploaded. Of course, you can subscribe here on YouTube for all the coverage I'm doing in the future, and go check out the Twitch channel where all the testing happens live. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next Battle for Azeroth First Pass Alpha video, which will be Beast Mastery Hunter next.